This is Steve from the NSAF here with one of our great medical staff members for many, many years, Claudia Chapel, aka Sparky. A lot of people might only know Sparky, but now you know both names if you're watching this and for the first time. So tell us a little bit about the role that you fulfill for the NSAF medical staff both here and at our national championship meets.
Well, I'm sort of the longest term member of the staff, so I pretty much know everybody and all the players, and I'm a sports performance therapist, so I do massage, I stretch them out, I give them advice on nutrition, on training, on stretching, on exercises. I pretty much fulfill every role, every crack, that somebody else isn't filling, I'm filling. So it's sort of I kind of come in behind the doctors, or I go in front.
Has that role kind of evolved over the years as you've just learned more things and become more versatile and seen more places where you can fill in those cracks, so to speak?
Yes, that's very true, because I traveled a lot with the Olympic teams, and I bring what I know from the Olympic teams down into the NSAF, just in protocols, for example, making sure that the kids that we are dealing with are prepped in a way that they can go from an NSAF meet right on to a national team and be very, very well versed in what's required of them. So they learn a lot from the medical staff as to how to ask for what they need. A lot of kids come to us not knowing what they need, but we show them how to be proactive in their care and ask for what they actually need.
What are the diverse things that you might do during a typical, Friday or Saturday at New Balance Nationals? Like if you can recall the indoor meet,
yes.
What were some of the, normal things you do, and then some of the more unusual things that might come up where you're able to troubleshoot or dig deep into your repertoire of skills, so to speak?
That's a great question. Usually, an athlete will either come in before they're going to throw or they're going to run, and they're not quite sure why they can't get enough stretch or enough out of their shoulder or out of their calves. So we'll very quickly jump in, assess, see where they're at, see if it's just because they haven't warmed up long enough, or if they are on the brink of an injury and we have to call a doctor in, and we'll be a specific doctor. Or we might just have Dr. Wheeler come in and double check and make sure, she's a physical therapist, and make sure that they are good to go. And if she's unsure, we have a chain of command, and maybe we'll have somebody go down in the stands, which time we have to find out where everything is, where all the equipment is, so that we can run up into the stands and make sure that patron is either handled immediately on site. Most things happen on the spot, like Spike.
It's very improvisational,
yes,
isn't it?
It's very improvisational.
Wow.
And so the kids are watching you in action. Their confidence gains in the medical staff because they see all this stuff going on. Sometimes they'll be in the training room when somebody's brought in that's in dire straits, and it's all done with such professionalism and so quietly and so quickly that the kids in the room are able to not be frightened about things and feel that they're completely cared for themselves, just if they're just getting stretched even.
Well, it's interesting to think that, sometimes, a kid is hurt and that you kind of know, pretty quickly and pretty with fair certainty. Other times, like you said a few minutes ago, there's just something that's not quite right and they're not sure what it is, and they're concerned about ability to perform, not something that's happened after they've already performed.
Exactly. Exactly.
How much, probably a lot of people don't necessarily think about this when they think of doctors and professionals at meets like this helping kids, but it seems like a huge part of how you're able to do so much is the fact that many of you have worked together so long that you know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you work as a team, and going back and forth. Is that number of years of working together?
That's it, Steve.
A huge factor.
It's a huge factor because we all know each other very well after all these years, and we know immediately if it's something that we can handle. We don't have the ego that a lot of temporary staffs have, where I know this, I come from this, I went to Harvard, whatever your story is. And I know that I have a pretty big ego, so if I do, I'm sure everyone else does too. So what we do is we know immediately this is what Liz does this, or Rob Jones does this, or Brandon does this, or whoever we have. Like Dr. Anderson, our chiropractor, she has a lot of skills, and we've brought on a young chiropractor who has even greater scope than chiropractic used to have. And so we just keep leaning on each other. Lori Vasquez, our head ATC, she's superb at her job. So her skills. I am a taping person, so I do all the kinesio taping because that's my great strength. And so we all just jump in, and we are so quick to understand what's happening for an athlete, because a lot of times their coaches want to send them back in. They are the linchpin of their 4x4, and we're concerned. Maybe that athlete shouldn't run today and should hold back and wait till the summer. And the coaches say, we need him. I mean, they're going for a championship and a record or whatever it is. We have to make a very quick decision as to whether or not that athlete has the potential to hurt himself and put him or herself out for the spring, or if they're good to go if we do certain protocols. If we've got 24 hours, it's usually better, and we're able to do it.
Now, how did you first connect with the NSAF 20
Yeah, 1993. A doctor from New York brought me on, and Tracy Sunland. Actually, I'm a member of Warren Street Running Club in New York City, and Tracy Sunland is a coach for us who actually founded that club. We all know each other forever, and so he said, well, Sparky, I think this would be a really great thing for you. We could really use the help. And nobody knew about massage therapy, really. I mean, in those days, I'd already been to the games, but, it just, teams would bring massage, or they'd see massage therapists from every other country, and we didn't have anybody. So we started to really investigate that. It started to become very popular, sports massage, and then from sports massage we went into fascial training and these different things that we've added on since then. And we were a skeleton staff back then, one doctor, two doctors, and
before Rob came along,
for thousands of people, right? So Rob came in 1996, and he's never looked back. We all have been there at least that long, so at least 20 years.
Wow.
And I was up in Syracuse the first time where we got snowed in.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
That's unforgettable,
yeah.
I know Mike and Jim would talk about those stories from that meet a lot.
Yeah. And Mike Byrne.
And, you have quite an interesting performance background yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you were doing on Broadway.
That's right. I was a Broadway dancer a million years ago, and I also danced all over the world and traveled a lot as a performing artist. So I know.
So that's something you started doing like right after college?
Oh no, college. No. I went to college after dancing.
Oh, okay.
So I was a professional dancer very early on.
Even before
15
college?
years old.
Oh wow.
And 16, I did everything. I went to high school at the same time and came into New York City to dance at night and I take class, and it was before Title IX, before performing arts high schools out in Westchester where I grew up. I had to come into the city to take class, and I traveled tremendous amount in my younger years, and when I was in my early 30s I started to be injured a lot as a dancer, and I went for therapy all the time, never missed my therapy, and to keep me going. And I was studying classics at Fordham University when I decided to pursue muscular therapy as a profession, because I went to my muscular therapist and I said, oh my gosh, I can hardly get out of bed every morning, I'm so injured, and I was about 36 at the time. And he said, why don't you come see me? I'm up at the school, which was in Boston, and see what we can do. Let's see what we can fit you in and put something together for you. So I went up there and I said, this is what I should do with the rest of my life. I still managed to get out of Fordham University, but I also became a muscular therapist, and I've never looked back. It's a tremendous profession. It's constantly evolving. There's actually a degree in it, and I've been doing it for a very long time since, so well over 20 years now.
So no doubt your career as a dancer, both, the successes and the ups and downs later on, the injuries, has really informed your work. But yeah, you keep learning so much every year.
Indeed.
And all the new things and ideas that come in over the decades.
Oh, yes.
It's like building this pyramid of knowledge, isn't it?
It's just like being the best at what you do. When you are a dancer, you have to take class every day, whether you're performing or not, because there's always another audition, there's always something coming down the road you have to be ready for. So in order to stay on top of your game, you have to be on top of your game. You have to take voice lessons, dance lessons. In my case, after I stopped dancing, I fell in love with ocean sports. I started surfing, I started paddling. I'm on a very, very fast racing team for outrigger, which is a Polynesian sport which requires tremendous skill and strength and fearlessness because you're out in big water in the ocean. I've been a world champion in that. I know what it is to lose.
Wow.
Yeah, not that long ago, 10 years ago actually. And I've raced against the greats, so I know what it's like to be 5'2" and step into my canoe and have people in the canoe sitting right next to me be 6'7" and still win. Because it's always about your mental attitude, your joy in doing it, and I say this to kids. I love to run. I run every event I can get in New York City. I go the 5Ks, 6 milers, whatever's handy. I love doing it, and I love running more and more every year. As old as I am, I still love getting out there and competing. Somebody just said to me yesterday, "You're so competitive."
Now you came with us to CSI in Puerto Rico before,
Oh,
right?
Yes.
So how would you compare, I know you didn't come last year,
It's the only year I haven't come.
How would you compare this experience, this country, this meet, everything you've experienced here compared
Cuba,
to all the trips to Puerto Rico?
Well, they're similar in many ways, only because we have a chance to experience life from the other side. Although Puerto Rico has many more privileges and opportunities than people have in Cuba at the present time, as far as I can see, this experience has been beyond imagining. I mean, I'm sitting in a stadium, their Pan American Stadium from '91, that has not been touched since that time. Literally falling down around our ears. But the people are fierce and proud, and they are happy, and they love their country, and they're not ashamed. This is who they are, and this is what it is. And for us to have an opportunity to see people who don't have all the privileges that we have live their lives with joy has really knocked me out. It's just amazing, and I am so grateful.
Well, thank you so much for serving our
me.
staff, for serving our kids, and delight to do this interview.
Thank you, Steve. That was a beautiful interview. Thank you.